My name is Mahan. I'm 67 years old, and when people look at me now, they see a calm, smiling grandmother, someone who bakes cookies, waters flowers, and tells bedtime stories. But what they don't see is the long road I walked to find this peace. You see, I wasn't always this way. And everything changed the day my grandfather passed away. That was the day the ground beneath my feet gave way, and I started falling into a silence that would last for years. My grandfather was more than just a parent figure to me. He was the only person who made me feel understood in a house where words were often sharp and love was conditional. My father, his son, was cold, strict, and quick-tempered. But Grandpa softened the house with his laugh, with his calm way of talking to plants, and his habit of waking me up early just to see the sunrise together. He believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. When he passed away, it wasn't just grief that entered our home, it was a void, a space that nothing could fill. My father didn't cry, not at the funeral, not after. Instead, something in him hardened, as if losing his father stole the last bit of warmth he had left. At first, I thought he was just mourning in silence. But it didn't take long to see the change. He no longer looked at me, or if he did, it was with a kind of resentment I couldn't understand. He'd snap over the smallest things, a misaligned rug, a dropped spoon, my laughter. It was as if the very sound of joy became unbearable to him. He started blaming me for everything. "You remind me too much of him," he said once, almost like it was a curse. "The same eyes, the same voice. But you're not him. Don't pretend to be." I stopped speaking after that. Literally. I went days without saying a word. My mother was distant too, always tired, always in the kitchen, never really present. She had her own sorrow, I suppose, and I didn't want to add to it. My little sister, Sanaz, was too young to understand. She just followed me around with her teddy bear, whispering stories she made up. I envied her for still having a world inside her head. One night, while clearing out Grandpa's belongings, I found an old notebook tucked behind his books. Inside, he had written short letters to all of us, unsent, unfinished. Mine read, "To my little Mahan, if you're ever reading this, I hope it's not because I'm gone. But if I am, listen to me, your voice matters. Don't let silence steal it. Don't become small to make others comfortable. Grow child. Grow wild and free." I read that letter over and over for weeks. It was my lifeline, but finding courage didn't happen overnight. My father's words still echoed in the house like ghosts. "You're weak. You'll never be anything. Stop crying. It solves nothing." One day, he ripped up a drawing I had spent hours on. I didn't even cry. I just sat there, staring at the torn pieces on the floor, and something inside me whispered, "He's wrong." That was the first time I dared to disagree with him, even if it was just in my head. I started writing. Quietly, in my own notebook. I wrote poems about how I missed my grandfather. Stories where little girls found magic forests and kind old kings. I wrote letters to my future self, promising her that one day she would live in a house full of light, with soft music playing, and no fear walking from one room to the next. Writing became my rebellion. Years passed. I graduated from school quietly with little celebration. Got a job as a librarian in town. Saved every coin. Then finally I left. It wasn't a dramatic escape. No shouting, no goodbye speech. Just a suitcase, a letter on the table, and the sunrise, the same kind Grandpa used to show me. And life slowly began. I rented a small room above a bakery, lived off tea and bread, and started tutoring children in the evenings. I told them stories, helped them with writing, and encouraged them to speak, especially the quiet ones. I recognized myself in them, and I made it my mission to make sure none of them ever felt invisible the way I had. Years later, I married a kind man named Rahim. He loved listening more than speaking, and he never once raised his voice, not to me, not to anyone. We built a home with books on every shelf, music from every decade, and laughter that echoed across the walls. When my children were born, I held them close and promised them the same thing I had once written to myself. You will never fear the sound of footsteps in this house. And now I'm a grandmother. And every time I tell my grandchildren a bedtime story, I slip in a piece of the girl I used to be. Not to scare them, but to remind them that even broken things can bloom again. So if you're listening to this and feel like the world has silenced you, know this: your story matters. Your voice is not too small, and even in the darkest home, light can grow where love is planted. If this story touched your heart, please support our channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who needs to hear it. Your voice has power. Let's grow courage one story at a time.